The idea is straightforward. Instead of resisting what befalls us, we should accept it. Instead of wishing things were different, we should embrace them as they are. Let's revisit our example. Picture a lady unhappy in her matrimony, tempted to seek escapades outside it. Instead, she chooses to accept her situation, saying, "This is my life, my matrimony, and instead of fleeing it, I'll make the best of it." This doesn't mean staying in a toxic or harmful partnership. Still, it does mean taking responsibility for her joy, finding delight in the present rather than endlessly pursuing something better. For instance, there's a tale about the Stoic thinker Zeno, a prosperous merchant who lost everything in a shipwreck. Instead of despairing, he said, "Fate has favored me. Now I can pursue wisdom." And he became one of the greatest educators of Stoicism. So if you're feeling trapped in your partnership, try this. Instead of fixating on what's lacking, focus on what you can improve. Instead of wishing things were different, embrace them as they are. When you stop resisting your destiny, that's when you'll find true liberty. Here's the stark reality. No partnership can bring you joy if you're not content with yourself first. The Stoics understood this. They knew the key to a fulfilling life in partnership isn't finding the perfect spouse or pursuing endless escapades. It's about finding tranquility within yourself, accepting what you can't govern, and focusing on what you can. So, if you're feeling trapped in your partnership or tempted to seek joy elsewhere, ask, what am I truly seeking? Is it thrills, affirmation, liberty? Then ask, can I find that within myself? Because here's the reality. When you stop seeking someone else to complete you, that's when you'll truly be liberated. Ultimately, the decisions we make, whether staying loyal in a marriage or seeking adventures beyond it, boil down to one thing: our ability to comprehend and govern our yearnings. Stoicism teaches 5. The influence of society and contemporary pressures. Now, let's address something that makes this even tougher: modern society. We exist in a world constantly urging us to crave more. More wealth, more achievement, more thrills. Partnerships are no exception. We're inundated with images of flawless couples, storybook romances, and ceaseless escapades. When our partnerships don't measure up, it's easy to feel we're missing out. But here's the reality. The Stoics would call this an illusion. They termed it fantasia or false perceptions, the notion that our views constantly deceive us. For example, consider social media. We see curated snapshots of others' lives and begin comparing. We think, why isn't my partnership like that? But here's the truth. What you're seeing isn't genuine. It's a crafted image designed to make you feel lacking. So how do we break free? The Stoics would say, focus on what's real, your own life, your principles, your partnerships. Don't let society's expectations shape your joy. For instance, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote nightly in his journal, reflecting on his day, his choices, and his principles. By doing so, he stayed anchored in what truly mattered. So if you're feeling pressured by society's expectations, try this. Step back, ask what you truly desire. Not what society dictates, but what matters to you, and focus on that. 6. The strength of amor fati, embracing your destiny. Finally, let's discuss one of Stoicism's most potent concepts: amor fati, or embracing your destiny. Her husband no longer compliments her, and she begins to think that she has lost her vibrancy. So she seeks attention from other men. Perhaps she flirts at work or joins a dating platform. For a while, it feels wonderful. She feels wanted again. But here's the reality. That feeling won't last, because deep down, she's still seeking someone else to affirm her. Until she learns to establish herself, she'll always chase that feeling. So how do we break this cycle? Well, that's where Stoic self-control enters. Let's discuss that next. 4. Self-control and the strength of choice. One of Stoicism's core tenets is self-control. The Stoics believed we can't dictate what befalls us, but we can govern how we respond, and that's where our strength lies. Let's revisit our example. Picture a lady tempted to seek escapades outside her matrimony. She's feeling lonely, undervalued, and weary. Then she meets someone who makes her feel vibrant again. At this moment, she has a choice. She can yield to her yearnings or pause and ask, is this truly what I desire, or am I merely trying to fill an emptiness? This is where Stoic self-control shines, recognizing your urges but not letting them dominate you, making choices rooted in your principles rather than your feelings. For instance, the Stoic thinker Epictetus, born into slavery, went on to become a revered educator. How? Through self-control. He believed true liberty stems from mastering your mind. So if you're tempted to seek joy outside your partnership, ask, what's driving this yearning? Is it a need for affirmation, a fear of missing out, or something else? Then make a choice based on what you truly treasure, not just what feels good in the moment. 2. Negative envisioning, valuing what you possess. Negative envisioning is a Stoic practice where you picture losing what you hold. Sounds gloomy, right? But here's why it's effective. It helps you cherish what you already have. Suppose you're in a partnership and feeling weary or undervalued. Instead of fixating on what's lacking, try this. Imagine your spouse is absent. Picture waking one morning and they're no longer there. How would you feel? What would you miss about them? This practice isn't about being grim. It's about altering your viewpoint. When we take things for granted, we cease valuing them. But when we envision losing them, we abruptly realize their worth. For instance, there's a tale about the Roman thinker Seneca. He was among Rome's richest men, yet he practiced negative envisioning daily. He'd picture losing his riches, his prestige, even his kin. By doing so, he learned to cherish what he had rather than endlessly craving more. So if you're feeling unfulfilled in your partnership, try this exercise. Imagine your spouse is gone. What would you miss? What would you regret not expressing or doing? Sometimes the key to joy isn't acquiring more. It's valuing what you already hold. 3. The role of outer affirmation. Now, let's address something that propels many to seek escapades outside their partnerships. The need for outer affirmation. Here's the reality. We all desire to feel esteemed, noticed, appreciated, and wanted. When we don't receive that in our partnerships, it's easy to start seeking it elsewhere. But here's the issue. Relying on outer affirmation is like constructing your home on sand. It's unsteady. No matter how much praise or attention you receive, it's never sufficient. You'll always crave more. The Stoics had a term for this, prosoke or mindfulness. They believed true self-worth springs from within, knowing your value, regardless of others' opinions. For example, envision a lady who's wedded but feels unseen. 1. The Stoic view on yearning and joy. Let's start with the Stoic perspective on yearning. The Stoics believed that most of our troubles arise from one thing: craving what we lack. Reflect on it. When we're discontent in a partnership, it's often because we're dwelling on what's absent. Perhaps we feel our spouse doesn't value us sufficiently, or we're weary of the monotony, or we're longing for something fresh and thrilling. But here's the reality. The Stoics would argue that this craving for more, this relentless yearning, is the source of our distress. They termed this epimia, meaning unhealthy craving, a type of yearning that's never fulfilled no matter how much we attain. For instance, picture a lady who's married but feels unsatisfied. She might begin seeking thrills outside her matrimony, perhaps through a fling or by pursuing novel experiences. But here's the issue. Even if she discovers what she's seeking, the thrill won't endure. It's like pouring water into a perforated pail. The more she pursues, the emptier she feels. The Stoics would assert that the answer isn't to chase more but to alter how we perceive what we already possess. They called this eudaimonia, or inner tranquility, finding contentment within ourselves rather than depending on external things to bring us joy. So how do we achieve that? Well, that's where Stoic practices enter. Let's discuss one of the most potent ones. Alright, let's begin with the evident question. Why does this occur? Why do certain wedded ladies or gentlemen, for that matter, seek escapades outside their partnerships? On the surface, it's simple to claim, oh, they're just self-centered, or they're weary, or they don't cherish their spouse anymore. But Stoicism urges us to probe deeper, because here's the reality. Human conduct is seldom that straightforward. Consider it. When someone opts to venture beyond their matrimony, It's not just about bodily allure or a brief thrill. It's frequently about something far more profound, a craving for connection, for affirmation, for a feeling of liberty or exhilaration they sense is lacking in their existence. And this isn't a contemporary issue. The Stoics discussed this millennia ago. They recognized that humans are intricate beings, driven by emotions, yearnings, and an unending pursuit of meaning. So what's truly occurring here? Well, let's dissect it. First, there's the matter of anticipation. Many of us enter matrimony with this notion that it's going to be this flawless, storybook romance. But the truth? Matrimony is challenging. It's chaotic, brimming with concessions and trade-offs. And over time, that initial flame can dim. The routines settle, the dialogues grow foreseeable, and for some, that can feel stifling. But here's where Stoicism steps in. The Stoics believed our joy doesn't stem from outer things, not from our spouses, not from our bonds, not from anything external to ourselves. True pleasure, they proclaimed, arises from within, from our capacity to govern our thoughts, our feelings, and our responses to the world around us. So if that's accurate, why do so many still seek joy outside their partnerships? Why do they pursue escapades, even knowing it could ruin all they've constructed? That's what we'll investigate next. Why do numerous married ladies quietly hunger for adventures beyond their marriages? Is it monotony, isolation, or something profounder, something timeless thinkers like the Stoics cautioned us about ages ago? Today, we're delving into the startling reality behind this query, and you may be astonished by what Stoicism reveals about human essence, bonds, and the decisions we make. Stay tuned, because this isn't solely about matrimony, it's about grasping the heart of who we are. Let's clarify one point. This isn't a clip about condemning anyone. It's not about accusing or declaring who's correct or mistaken. This is about comprehension, because here's the reality. When we observe someone making a decision we don't grasp, like a wedded lady pursuing escapades outside her marriage, our initial urge is to criticize. But Stoicism instructs us to halt, to question what's truly happening here, and, more crucially, what can we glean from this? Today, we'll examine this subject through the lens of Stoic wisdom, exploring the human essence, the quest for joy, and why, even when we possess all we thought we desired, we still sense that something's missing. Ready? Let's proceed.